I don't know if so many people notice. You know, I grew up in an 84-family apartment house where the only Georgian families was the super and mine. You know, I was the Shabbos guy. Mario Cuomo, our governor, he said he was the Shabbos guy. He lived in South Jamaica, Queens. There wasn't a Jew within 10 miles of South Jamaica, Queens. I was the real South Shabbos guy.
Open the lights of Shabbos.
Yes, Rabbi. The campaign has been very intense. I've worked very, very hard. This has been a particularly nasty campaign, unfortunately. And why I sometimes don't understand why people would say things that I couldn't begin to think about. There have been nasty, vicious things said about me. And what you have to do to counter that, unfortunately, is to raise a lot of money. And when I think of all of the money we've had to raise and all of the good we could do with that money if we could donate it to social services, it's appalling, but it's the nature of the game. I need everybody in this room to remind their friends and relatives and neighbors to, after you vote for mayor, come down and vote for me. You know, I've said this across Brooklyn, that of course I'm not going to be there forever, but when someone comes after me, I want someone who will commit to doing everything they can for not just one particular community, but for all communities. And the reason that I've always had the support of Borough Park is people like Rabbi Steinberg and Rabbi Freilich who understand my commitment to Borough Park. And the reason I have had the support of diverse communities across this counties, I've been able to convince people I really care about what I'm doing. But I will be darned if I'm going to step aside and let some person come along who has no record, who is basically interested in money, you know, and there's nothing wrong with money, although my mother used to say, and my wife echoes it, that the reason that Joe's in public service, he hates money. That's not true. I like money like everybody else, but I don't live for money. I don't get up every morning looking to make a buck. And the person who has been campaigning against me, since he has no record, all he can do is use lies, distortions, and half-truths. And it's a disgusting thing to see someone go into the gutter like that. And it's not going to work. And that's why I want to win by a landslide. And I believe I will win by a landslide. I've worked very hard on it. The Inspector General bill, my problem with the Inspector General bill, and you know, I'm a very, very great admirer of Brad Landon, who's one of our councilmen who introduced the legislation. It has absolutely no teeth. I've been a special prosecutor investigating police corruption and brutality, and that office was done away with after I became DA because the then governor, Mario Cuomo, knew that we had 5 DAs. We have an internal affairs division of the police department that does a great job in rooting out corruption. And it was unnecessary. If you want to have an inspector general and give that inspector general prosecutorial power, then we could have that debate. But it was like a nothing job. As I often said to people, maybe if I get tired of doing a real job, I could take a nothing job where I wouldn't have to work so hard and get my pension and a salary. I thought it was unnecessary. You know, I got to tell you something. The real problem has been stop and frisk has been overused. And Ray Kelly finally came to understand that. I have great respect for Ray. I know Ray since he was a sergeant. And what he's doing now, and you'll see stop and frisk has dropped dramatically, he's doing now is in keeping with the letter and the spirit of Terry versus Ohio, which is the basis for stop and frisk. That was a decision written by the great judge, Chief Earl Warren, which said, if you see someone, and based on your experience as a police officer, you can articulate a concern about what they may be doing, then you are permitted to stop them. And then during the course of a conversation with that person, if you have a reasonable suspicion that you might be in danger, you can frisk. That's the way stop and frisk should be used. It's a useful tool. You know, as Bill Bratton has said, and everybody in law enforcement has said, everybody in law enforcement uses it. It's got to be used in the right way, that's all. And I think that Ray Kelly understands that now, and I think that that's a good thing. And I think whoever the next police commissioner will be, they'll continue that as a useful tool, but they will never overuse it again. Yes, we do.
Going back, the summer of '74.
23 years.
9 years. It means we're over 39. We'll leave it at that.
Well, summer of '74, I was still the liaison. I left in
You
75
were
to run the
head of Rex
nursery.
Bureau, Gene Gold.
Yeah, he was my boss.
Throughout the years, agreements and disagreements, which is normal. People have, and if the agreements overweigh the disagreements, we meet again. Otherwise, so pluses overweigh the minuses. There are certain things that I would like to talk about, but I would only do it in private because everything's tape viral, of course. But in general, I'll ask one question now. A jury verdict means nothing to the community. The jury has spoken means nothing, and I can prove it to you through history, how trials went against evidence. It was confirmed last week when a Spanish woman held out on a Crown's case, and she said that the jury was anti-Semitic from beginning before deliberations, throughout deliberations, straight to. I did not hear anybody address that thing. You're a DA.
You have to address it. And I said that the lawyer for the defendant in that case, if he spent more time learning how to pick a jury than shooting his mouth off to the press, maybe he wouldn't have a jury like that. To have a jury that's so outrageous that they would say something so blatantly anti-Semitic has a lot to do with a lawyer's inability to pick a jury. Now, I've been a trial lawyer my entire career, and I've taught trial advocacy for 25 years in 2 law schools, 19 years in a 3rd law school. It's just the lawyer involved, who I know, is always shooting his mouth off to the press. Now, you know, it's a free press, you're allowed to say anything you want, but spend some time and learn how to pick a jury. That's what I said.
The DA has a representative there too. If you see,
I know.
if you're more experienced, you see that the jury is not kosher, then
We live in an adversarial era, you know. Prosecutor has some job, supposed to do justice, defense is supposed to do justice, but also, more importantly, to represent his client. My kids have no obligation to say to a defense lawyer, you know you're going to learn how to pick a jury. I can say.
no, when you see anti-Semitism or racism, you have to make a statement.
Rabbi, I go back to the Howard Beach case, and I made law in that case. And the law was that Batson versus Kentucky said that prosecutors could not throw people off the jury because of race or religion or whatever the difference.
Religion didn't go.
I changed, what's that?
Religion didn't go. Race and gender.
No, it was religion too. The Batson case certainly had to do with religion. And that was a Kentucky case. I expanded that law to include a prohibition against the defense using the differences of race, religion, and gender. So I'm very, very proud of the fact that my office, when it deals with jury service, will never throw someone off the jury because of some difference that they perceive. Any lawyer in my office who did that would be the last day he or she would ever work for me. I think what happened in that case was disgraceful, but I also think that the lawyer had an obligation to learn. I'd be happy to sit down with the lawyer and spend an hour and teach him how to pick a jury.
I would like to know how many people will vote for the DA because of me.
Oh, well.
Mr. Hynes, I vote you 5. He vote you only 4. He vote only 4.
I vote your wife and son-in-law definitely gonna vote.
No.
We're all gonna vote.
Look.
Trust me, you're gonna say